And I shall never stand here to defend any cabinet secretary, any, whether you are from my community, whether you are my brother or my sister. Before the last election, when we gave you work to work as a cabinet secretary, you must work for the people of Kenya. Don't work for the people from your backyard. Don't work to protect officers because they come from your backyard. Work for services to be delivered to the people of Kenya who have put you in that office.
The permanent feature in our political circle is betrayal. According to reports emerging, the 2 Friday meetings that were convened, the 12 MPs that met at Rigathi's residence in Karen, and the 48 leaders, including MCAs, that met in Thika, both were mobilized by Rigathi Gachagua. Report shows that the team that were mobilized were not 48 MPs, but actually others, MCAs and some other leaders from the county assembly, and other leaders that were not elected. This is what was reported on Nation on Tuesday. Keen to assume the mantle of Mount Kenya's political supremo after former President Uhuru Kenyatta exited the power, the DP who has held a series of night meetings and sponsored others in his absence is leaving nothing to chance in rallying the region behind him. And if you want to know, the encounter is ugly. Rigathi Gachagua is expected to call a press briefing and give a position statement on the Mount Kenya rumble that is going on. In this podcast, we are taking you deep into the ghosts around Rigathi Gachagua and why the Thika mission has actually failed. Kindly subscribe to our channel, and at this point, let me remind you about our October project. This boy here, Edwin Mwiti Mwenda, is our project this month. He was admitted, he got C+ and was supposed to join a college, a university, the Kirinyaga University, but because of financial challenges, it could not happen. So he was supposed to have joined by September. They reached out and I decided as Team Bold Charity Network, we are going to take this boy to school on Friday. So we only have today and tomorrow. We'll be closing this fundraiser on Thursday midnight. Thursday, probably Friday morning. And so, what we are doing is we're doing 100 shillings challenge to support the boy. I've also reached out for those who are willing to donate, because that costs there are a lot of other requirements. You can also WhatsApp me and I'll show you those, send you those requirements. You can as well buy. Those who can still even buy a phone. I really like one of our subscribers also said I'm going to buy 2 pairs of trousers. I think that was Madeira someone. So that kijana aende shule, and I'm just so grateful. Let's bring this and I'll be so glad kijana kingia shule under our umbrella. Yes, bit of need to get what I need to do an update around what we have. Yes, you already have 66, not 66. Yes, 66,700. I wanted to say 67, 66,700. I believe that we will achieve this. Ladies and gentlemen, and the target was 100, so we are sharing around 36,000, 34,000. Ladies and gentlemen, one aspect why the meeting was held was insubordination. The Thika meeting, those 2 meetings, one of the challenges that emerged was Alice Wahome complained of insubordination by those in power, that there's a way the executive or some members of State House are working with maybe the PS and the CS is being insubordinated. Number 2, was a concern about members of Mount Kenya that are being ejected from government one way or the other. The firing spree. But just before a week, yesterday, Kimani Ichung'wah went to the National Assembly. And before I tell you, let me tell you, Kimani Ichung'wah went there and turned against those CSS that have been complaining of insubordination.
Because the president has been very emphatic, and all ministers in government must be seen to be in tandem with what the president is saying on matters touching on corruption. Because the president cannot be saying mambo ni matatu on issues touching on corruption, and ministers in government are speaking a different language. Worst of all, speaking a different language to the constitutional offices, commissions charged with the responsibility of dealing with matters corruption, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know many a times we are tempted to speak for ministers, especially if they come from our background, Honorable Speaker. And I have said, not more than once, from where I stand in this House, on matters advancing government policy in the House, as leader of majority, I will do all that I can to advance government policy on behalf of even cabinet secretaries. But on matters touching on accountability in government, matters touching on transparency in how you conduct yourself while in office, as a minister, as a state officer, Honorable Speaker, there shall be no compromise. And I shall never stand here to defend any cabinet secretary, any, whether you are from my community, whether you are my brother or my sister. Before the last election, when we gave you work to work as a cabinet secretary, you must work for the people of Kenya. Don't work for the people from your backyard. Don't work to protect officers because they come from your backyard. Work for services to be delivered to the people of Kenya who have put you in that office. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I needed to say that, Honorable Speaker.
Now, if you want to know that the situation got out of hand, Rigathi Gachagua had even warned the members of Mount Kenya that deal with William Ruto directly. They're not going through him. And in those two meetings that I've said, Ndindi Nyoro and Ichung'wah were actually missing. So, it is really understood that probably they were not even invited, and because they were not even part of it, and remember Ichung'wah is the majority leader in the National Assembly, he came out and said that they are not going to defend people because they come from Mount Kenya region. So, and that was one of the reasons why the Mount Kenya meeting was being held. Now, the Manila man's ghosts are not getting away anytime soon. After a scuffle with the Moses Kuria is seen as courting the opposition politicians and running with a narrative debunking the shareholders' narrative that Rigathi was talking about. And last week on Sunday, not last week, this week on Sunday, I wanted to listen to the outburst by Wavinya Ndeti when he was sending Moses Kuria to go and tell Rigathi something.
The person you're speaking of.
See, the way the anti-Rigathi venom is not just being planted in Mount Kenya. It's not just emerging from Mount Kenya. But Kuria has been moving, and look at the way Kuria has been speaking when he does the industrial parks, when he's launching this industrial aggregation parks. He's been debunking Rigathi, and there is a very well coordinated approach that from different parts of the country, Rigathi venom is getting deep. And I'm equally not shocked, because sometimes that's the price of running that. He also ran such a venom against Uhuru Kenyatta. When Moses Kuria was in Kisii, Arati hit Kuria. When Moses Kura was then in Ukambani recently, you saw a vendetta going after Rigathi. So, and Arati also hit Rigathi. So it's very clear that what is Rigathi, while Rigathi is struggling with what is seen as a Mount Kenya unity, the ghosts are not getting away. But the problem is this. But then a man cannot see Ruto's trap, or rather the Ruto's plan. It will, the Rigathi mission is backfiring because of these three reasons. Number one, Ruto would want to control his succession. And in fact, what's happening, when the reason why Rigathi is struggling with Mount Kenya succession is because he believes that when he becomes when he is elevated to be the Mount Kenya Supremo, automatically when Ruto succession politics kicks off, which I believe has started, he actually takes the lead. But there is a feeling that Ruto wants to control his succession, and it's not the Rigathi playbook. What am I saying? They are understanding that after Ruto is done, it should be kumi yangu kumi yako, or kumi yako tano yako. It has been achieved. So it doesn't owe Mount Kenya a political patronage. But what Rigathi is doing is he wants to put himself and control Ruto's succession. And that's where we're drawing the line. Number two, Ruto entry in Mount Kenya thrived on divide and rule. And that strategy was never dropped. He divided Uhuru Kenyatta with the Rigathis. And Uhuru had remained with the Jubilee part. And Rigathi reigned with a rebellion against Uhuru Kenyatta. So it was a divide and rule strategy. And now that is the same strategy being employed now. That is why you see Ruto will still insist on directly talking to Kina Ichungwa and Nyoro, because they had a relationship before even Rigathi. It works under that divide and rule. Now, Rigathi is working in a very tightrope. He's walking in a very tightrope because the leaders from Mount Kenya do not risk of losing Ruto euphoria. And even if it would be hostile, many are young politicians that would not risk new political fronts. They're leaders that they just have, even if Ruto is getting it wrong, even if things are not working, but so long as they're around Ruto, they believe on some imaginary, deep imaginary state influence that they will not risk to lose. So the moment some MPs will start receiving some few calls from Ruto that what are you doing, they will run away from Rigathi's meetings, and that will be the end of it. So I want to believe that what Rigathi is dealing with is not what he's seeing. It is deeper than that. Thank you.